Jerry Jones hasn't won a Super Bowl in over 20 years, and that hasn't taken away from his drive for winning, and wants to let everyone know that it isn't about the money. I admire people who have got enough to quit being hungry or quit having something they want to have, and they've got it, and they have peace. I've never been there, he said. My point is, the hunger is for what we're talking about right now, winning a Super Bowl, not to get another $1 billion. Who needs another $1 billion anyway? On that note, we welcome Will Cain to the show. Good to see you, Will.
Good morning.
Good morning. Stephen A. Coming to you because you spent a lot of time in Dallas. If you want to do this in your accent, you can. By the way, you won the poll last week. People liked your New York accent. Yes,
y'all really put it on the poll?
Your Italian New York accent more than
Are you really going to take that seriously, Will? Are you really going to act like? I'm saying, are you really going to act?
People voted.
Are you really going to act?
Poll.
Are you really going to act like you don't know that that's a bunch of Cowboy fans hating on me and they took up the poll numbers?
No,
are you really going to act like you don't know that?
We're going to move on to another victory in just a moment, but I swear to you, I didn't even know we put it on a poll. So I sit here today quite humbled in my victory. I had no idea you appreciated my accent.
You did. Okay. Stephen A., are the Cowboys legitimate Super Bowl contenders?
Me personally, I think they are. And the reason why I think they are, I'm going to tell you why I think they are. They were in the playoffs last year. Could they have beaten the Rams if they had won, if they had run the ball effectively and Ezekiel Elliott didn't get just 47 yards? Yes, that would have put them in the NFC Championship game. So I'm simply making the point. That, again, let's understand that when I say championship contender, all I mean by that is being one of the final four teams. Could they get to an NFC Championship game? I believe they could, because I think, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking their defense has shown that they're legit and they're here to stay for a little while. That's number one. Offensively, I expect Dak Prescott to be a little bit better. When I think about Jason Witten, we've already talked about this point. I don't expect big numbers from Jason Witten, but I do expect them to convert on third and short situations. I think ultimately, as a result of that, you move the chains. Moving the chains puts the ball in Ezekiel Elliott's hands a bit more. And I think that if you're relatively conservative with running the football and moving the chains, I think with that defense, you can make some things happen in the NFC. I hope I'm wrong, obviously. As far as I'm concerned, it would give me nothing but great pleasure to see them crash and burn, because it would make every Cowboy fan miserable. And we know there's very few things in life I hate more than a Dallas Cowboy fan. And I say that, not hate, but you know what I'm saying. I just can't stand them. But all I'm saying to you is this. That's the way I look at it, running the football effectively. It's not that I expect big things from Jason Witten or I expect Amari Cooper to have a 2,000-yard season or anything like that. I'm thinking your ability to move the chains keeps the ball in Ezekiel Elliott's hands, gives the ball to Ezekiel Elliott a bit more, and I think that defense is legit, so I think they have an opportunity to be a Final Four team in the NFL. That's what I'm talking about.
Are you quite finished?
Yes, I am.
You do not get to make that point on this TV show. I have sat here and listened to you talk about what? The accident waiting to happen. There is a song. It's a good song where I hear you say, some way, somehow, when it comes to the Cowboys, they will let you
when it
down.
Counts.
Mediocre team in Big D.
When it counts, they will let you down. And then you turn around and sit here and say the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders.
Changing his tune.
And then you come back and say, well, if the Rams didn't have Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald, then the Cowboys would have won that game. Yes, they played, and there were strengths and weaknesses, and the Cowboys lost that game. The reason the Cowboys, I think they are Super Bowl contenders, but the question that has to be answered is the defense. If you lose talent on the defense after spending years trying to get it together, making risky plays in the draft, going for upside, and it starts to work out, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, the defense matches the offense, and then you lose key pieces on the defense, we need to wait to see if the defense is still real. If it is, they're Super Bowl contenders.
Wait. What key pieces are you talking about, Max? What key pieces?
Irving, Randy Gregory.
Okay, Randy Gregory being lost is going to be somewhat hurtful. David Irving played very little.
But he's a high-impact player when he's in the game.
But he wasn't there for them to the point that Stephen A. is talking about, getting them to the point where they were last year. Here's the funny thing. I do feel like we swapped chairs. I do feel like, Stephen A., it's opposite day, because the Cowboys certainly have the roster to be a contender. They have the talent across the board, both on offense and defense, to be a contender. But remember last year, when I predicted the Dallas Cowboys would win the Super Bowl. I believe at that time your rebuttal, beyond the song you like to sing or beyond the points you like to make, had to do substantively with the coaching staff. It is still Jason Garrett leading this team into the season this next year. And that puts me in a position where I'm not so confident they are Super Bowl contenders this year. Jason Garrett's certainly on notice. We all know that. But here's the one thing that has to change for Dallas. They have to, no, Max, not change on defense. They have to be more creative on offense. They have to be less predictable. They can't signal to the entire league we're about to run Zeke Elliott on predictable down and yardage. They have to do something, and I'm not sold.
Warren Sharp. You're coming around to the Warren Sharp point of view.
I don't mind you running the ball. I just would like you to be a little more unpredictable on when you run the ball.
Right.
And Kellen Moore is an act of faith. You like to define faith continuously on this program, Max, and I think it's a well put point. Kellen Moore is an act of faith for me right now. I don't know that he's going to change the coaching, recipe in Dallas. And if he doesn't, I'll run into the same problem I had last year, which is Jason Garrett.
Mm-hmm. But you still got to worry about the defense, Will. If the defense holds, Max, you got to hope the defense holds.
Max, I just want to make sure that you articulate my point accurately to the American people. Some way, somehow, when it counts, they will let you down. I don't know about you, but to me, knocking on the door of a Super Bowl and they collapsing,
is a Super Bowl contender.
Having a lead in the Super Bowl and then collapsing, that applies. I mean, I don't think I'm inconsistent with my position at all.